Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of What the Wednesday. We are in, what day is today? January 20th. January 20th. It
man.
is inauguration day for the United States of America. Everybody's, I think today was a pretty exciting day. After the epic fail that the United States went through, a week and a half, two weeks ago now, a little over 2 weeks, 15 days ago or 16 days ago, whatever it was, after the epic... After the epic fail we had in the past, I think today went off without a hitch. I think everything went really well. It was a really good experience. I don't know if you happened to watch the inauguration at all today, Dusty, but
I've never honestly been one too involved in politics, so I'm gonna say I did not catch it.
So I didn't.
It's a big deal.
I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it through the work day, but I've been watching highlight reels since Jamie and the kids got home, and the highlight reels of the inauguration, right?
Yeah, right. Oh yeah. The top 10.
Top 10 plays of the day, and you know what? It seemed like it went well. Everything seemed like it was good. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see the outcome. Regardless of keeping politics out of it, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. We have to look forward to the next 4 years. Otherwise, it just becomes another bad 4 years or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, if you're not looking forward to it and you're not trying to be helpful, then you're part of you're part of the problem.
All I ever do as an American, I am just always hopeful and looking forward and hoping for the best for the country. That's all I ever want.
There you go.
That's all I ever need. So make it happen.
So, other than that, Dusty, how has the rest of your week been thus far?
It's been 1 week. No, sorry, it's
1 week since I talked to you. No, not really. It's been like an hour.
It's been good. I got some stuff done that I wanted to. I still have some projects I'm working on that I keep procrastinating on, but it's the nature of the game, I guess, for me personally. Part of the 2021 battle is working through that, and that doesn't mean it's just going to happen right away, and it's okay to fail a little bit as you're trying to change habits. So it's been good. It's been good.
You are currently on a self-titled Year of Hop.
Year of Hop, man.
And through that whole process, you've been working on daily YouTube releases, and I have to commend you. I have to commend you, man. You have been very consistent up to this point.
Jockool days and counting.
Jockool would be very, very impressed with you. I'm waiting for him to pop in one day and be like, "Oh my God, when is this guy gonna stop?" Because now it's getting flooded. He complained forever that you never put one out, and now you get one every day. Here you go. Keep it coming.
It'll stop after another 326 more. Right? I'm getting there. But,
there you go.
No, it's been fun. It's been good just getting in the habit of getting stuff out there rather than nothing at all, And it's kind of become my own little personal nightly diary, which is kind of fun to just get thoughts off the head and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. So. For sure. I did when the kids were little, before I started streaming, I did a daily writing, I did a daily thing for them, and I wrote how the day was for that, how the day was for them. I had full intention of, doing it for years on end or something like that. Right. And
big commitment.
I got 3 months into it and I was like, man, this is a lot. This is a lot. And I got sidetracked one day and I got sidetracked the next day and I got sidetracked the next day and it just fell apart. And I have the Google Doc and I keep telling myself, it's in a Google Doc out there somewhere. And I keep telling myself, one of these days I'm going to get back there and I'm going to write into that. And I fell in that pit. Myself and I need to get out. So you, sir, are going to motivate me to get out. At some point I'm going to see these.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm going to see these videos, and I'm going to be like, "I'm getting out of here. We're going to do this." If he's committed, I'm committed. We're going to get back to it.
I'm curious when I hit that first wall, because again, there's a lot of days in a year. There's only so much I feel like I can talk about before I'm just repeating myself, or I'm going to look back and I'll be like, "Man, I've already done this whole same little couple-minute episode," which I try to just kind of go through whatever's been going on for the day, kind of, but also a little bit of a theme. I usually have one topic in my head, so I have some sort of talking point to start with.
Sure.
So I'm not just rambling.
Sure.
But so far, we haven't run out of ideas. It's only 19 days in, but there's still time.
So if I could, a little comment on that, I will say that after 30 days,
Yeah.
don't coming from the YouTube side, right? After 30 days, don't be afraid to repeat yourself. And I don't mean like make the same exact video, but you know, we've always had these discussions.
That's like the rinse cycle.
We've had these discussions in the past about, you know, releasing, you know, content is content. You know, if somebody's looking for a specific topic, they might be willing to watch the same thing twice to hear it two different ways.
For sure. Yeah.
Because you're not going to say it exactly the same both times, right? So as long as you have a theme, you could repeat themes, you know, don't be scared, right? And I'm not saying you're scared, but you know what I mean? Like this is going out to our listeners too, right? I'm kind of pushing 100%. This out that way. Yeah, don't be scared to continue your content, even if you feel like you're repeating yourself. I've recorded so many videos on microphones and I've been like, this one sounds exactly same as the last 6 I did. But it doesn't matter because it's something new. It's something different. It is a little bit different, but I mean, you know, it's still, you know, like you go through this rotation, I feel like you're repeating the same steps, but that's kind of what is drawing people to keep coming back, right? Yeah, no, they know what to expect. They know where to go. They know what they want to see, and that's what they get.
Yeah, no, it's good. That's actually great advice. Because you are right. Yeah, 6 months from now, why would it matter if I was talking about the same stuff again? It's not like every video from 6 months ago is relevant to everybody on YouTube. So
there you go.
It's a very good point. Very, very good point.
So
trucking on, man, one day at a time.
And one day at a time. So interesting developments, I guess we want to say. Little ideas going into what is happening from perception, right? From myself and I think maybe a little bit about you, and it kind of led into this this topic here, and or the title of this cast, right? Being small fish, small pond, does it equal big results? And I think we've always heard in the past that don't like there's 2 methods of thought.
Yeah.
When it comes to young streamers, not in age, but in maturity, right? Or in timeline, right? Young streamers getting out there, and how do they find their niche? How do they grow? How do they touch their first community? Like, how do they connect with people the first time around when it's just this flood or this ocean of other streams, right? Like, where do you find your first community? And the biggest thing you either get, like the biggest 2 responses I think you get are play less saturated games.
Yep.
Or
always a common one.
Or just play what you love and people will enjoy what you love.
Yeah.
And I agree with both of those. But
yeah, not 100% completely, but
right. Well, there's good
sides to each.
So what I was gonna say, I agree with both of those, but you got to connect them together.
True. Yeah, I was gonna say you got to find the middle ground, kind of between both those ideas. I'll obviously don't play games you hate, because that translates to the viewer. They can see that, you know, they're always going to kind of feed off of your good vibes and your enjoyment of a game. And then a little bit on top of the saturated games. Yeah, sure. Obviously, if you're playing a game where you're 16 pages down on the Twitch channels, it's going to be hard for somebody to find you. But at the same time, don't play a game that has 2 viewers that are live on Twitch, because that means your maximum viewership you can get at that point is 2. And that's not helping you either.
Right. One of my biggest, and I've mentioned this in the past, is one of my biggest eras of progression as a streamer in my first year was when I focused on playing the game Realm Royale. Right. Yep. I focused on, I've always focused on just chatting, but when I focused on the game that I focused on being Realm Royale, and it was interesting because the community was so small. I mean, there was maybe max at peak, you'd see 500 viewers on Realm. Yep. Maybe, you know, on a good day, you'd see 500 viewers, but everybody that was there either played the game,
Yeah.
or they had previously played the game, or, they were very involved in communities, or, it was a very, very, I guess you could just say it was a very tight-knit community for people around the game.
Which is great.
And since there was only 500 viewers, right, you had hundreds of channels still, I think. I mean, you still had quite a few channels, but, you went from like somebody who had, because you always say, what is it, like, the top 5 channels always typically have like 90% of the viewership or something like that, right? There's some kind of method there that says, the top 5, 10 channels always have the top 10%. There you go. Top 10% have 90% of the viewers. That's the way we'll say that, right? So
I like that one.
Pushing yourself into that top 10% channels by just having 9 viewers is visibility.
Yeah. And with that being the hardest thing on Twitch, like obviously the visibility, discoverability is horrible. Anything you can do to help that out for yourself is leaps and bounds as far as getting more eyes on your content, which, as we always say at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Getting eyes on the content.
Right. So it's a very interesting kind of idea, and going, sticking with the realm until the game became pretty much unplayable. Like, it just became unplayable. Like, people that I would connect with and network with or anything like that, they would come back and watch my stream. Like, later on, like, I'd watch them play Call of Duty or play Apex or play whatever, right? They'd come back and watch my stream and, oh, what game is this? Oh, it looks like a silly knockoff version of Fortnite or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it is basically, right? But it's comedic. It's fun. It's, it's simple. I can play it on a really bad PC and still be able to stream it, right? And
look at old days.
Yeah, exactly. And it just made it easy to be able to still connect with a good community and grow, because people you'd kill somebody, your name would show up on the kill feed, like your name comes up right on the kill feed, like it's in your face who killed you, and they'll go find you and they're like, oh, that guy's the streamer. Okay. And they'd come and find you and they'd hang out and chat with you for a little while. And usually they'd ridicule you or stream snipe you and kill you next game, but still, it made it fun. And I think a lot of people forget that, right? Go ahead.
You're very right with when you get those games that, I don't know, we'll say between a couple hundred and 1,000 viewers on Twitch regularly. The people that are there, they're there because they love the game. It's obviously not blown up, or it's been out for a while, so it started to fade. So it's not the in thing. But it's the dedicated players, the one who really fell in love with it, the one who still enjoy playing it every day. Those are the ones stick around, which number one is great because you're weeding out a lot of the toxicity. Not that, again, that doesn't completely exist, but when it's not a saturated game, it's the hardcores, and they love it, and they're not trying to ruin or poison the community that still exists around it because they want it to be as big as it can. And I think that goes, for me, that's the biggest thing that I've come to realize in playing some of these games with the smaller viewership numbers compared to the bigger ones.
Yeah, I mean, we both have,
there to mess with you.
We both have, we both know the Nathan V, right? And previous guest on the show, and just all around good streamer. And he has seen some incredible growth sticking to Dauntless, which at times has been down to 100 viewers, and maybe at peak on like major patch events, it goes up to maybe 1,000 or so, like that. But again,
brings people back for a little bit.
Yeah, again, it's a big connected community. Everybody knows you. Everybody sees you. If you're that regular, if you play it, 3-4 days a week at the same times, the other people who are logging in just happen to see you standing in town, figure out who you are, and they just learn to connect, and they learn to be there, and they learn to, adapt and enjoy your content. And you get exactly that. You get a good community. You get people that are dedicated to teaching other people on how to get better. Right? Like, oh, here's a really good build guide, or here's a really good kit to go get, or here's the way I farmed these weapons, or here's the way, things like that. I'm being specific to Dauntless references, but
smart.
That's the type of community you want to build, right? I mean, yes, you want to have fun, you want to be silly, you want to do dumb things with your community to make everybody laugh, but the toxicity part, what you mentioned before, the toxicity part is where it gets dangerous, right? And you can very easily weed that out for a small community by pushing yourself towards a smaller game.
Yeah. And there's just a lot of benefits that come from that, especially for these newer streamers and things, where I've seen plenty of people get discouraged by these trolls, these toxic kids, whatever, because they can come in. Somebody can come in and ruin a stream. Somebody can come in and ruin a game for you, just like that. It turns around, be a hacker, whatever they are there for, and it's tough when you're here trying to make content, and it can just be squashed in a second. So,
yeah,
nullifying those chances as much as possible is a big thumbs up for me. I'm all for it.
So I'm going to say, here's my call out on this topic for the night, right? Here's my call out. I'm going to say that if you are a new content creator, you're finding a hard time growing or adapting in a heavily saturated game, Call of Duty, Apex, Fortnite, Among Us, even, these other games that are just way oversaturated at the moment, Rust, etc.
Oh
right?
God, Rust.
These other games that are super saturated right now, if you're finding yourself having a hard time growing, find the generic brand of that game and see what the community's like there. Find last year's version of that game. See what the community is like there. Find something very similar that you think you're going to enjoy playing, but has a more mature or more respected community behind it. Then you have an opportunity to, again, become you basically do that, like the title says, small fish in a small pond versus being a small fish in the ocean, right? It's much easier to be discovered or seen when everybody else is the same size as you, or you've only got a few big fish and you're not drowning everybody else out of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can average 10 and be on the first page compared to averaging 10 and being on the 50th, I think we would all take the first page. That's an easy that's an easy apples to oranges comparison right there.
If you really love, like another example, if you really love PUBG, check out Cuisine Royale. It's a silly game. It's a silly game, but
very much so.
It's very, I mean, to me, it's very PUBG-esque. I think it's built on kind of the same modeling or whatever, It's very PUBG-esque. But what I've seen, it's got a fun, small community that just, not that they don't take the game seriously, but they play the game for fun, right? Which makes it fun to play.
Yeah.
Everybody I've seen play it has had fun trying to do it, right? Yep. I mean, a lot of people don't stick around for a long time, but that's not the point, right? We're not talking about finding your forever game. We're not talking about finding, maybe you will, but, we're not saying that these smaller channels are going to push you to the top of Twitch, but they could be a very big stepping stone to get you to your next level of what you want to do.
Yeah, very much so. Which, are we going to talk a little bit about what transitioning is going to be, or I don't know what the segue is going to be afterwards, but the big fish, what I call it, I said be a big little streamer.
Be a big little streamer. Yeah, there you go.
It does. I'll say a little bit, just again, the upsides where, say again, it's 200 people watching, you make it into the top 4. So, you say you have 50 people watching you out of the 200. That's a great number. If you want to transition to another game halfway through your stream, be it a game that's got a little bit more people watching, say 10,000 instead of 200, you're going to be much higher on that visibility list transitioning with 50, which gives more people a chance to come click, which just, again, it continues to pile up. You pile up the viewers and give more people a chance to come see what kind of excellent content you're putting out.
That's a very good point.
Nothing wrong about that.
That's a very good point. If you happen to have content that does transition a lot. Now, I will say one of the downsides to the smaller communities is some of those people don't like to transition off of their own game. Right.
Very much so.
If they're there and they're dedicated and they're diehards to that game, then a lot of times same thing with Realm Royale. I had some very dedicated viewers when I was playing Realm. Very dedicated. They were there for every stream.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I stopped playing Realm, disappeared. And that's fine, right? We've had the discussion. Sure. We've had the discussion in the past that, viewer has no obligation to watch you, right? You're the one that needs to be obligated to provide content to them.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't fault them for liking what they like,
Right. So
it'd be a silly world.
So you have to, know that that's going to happen when you transition. You're going to lose X% of it, whatever it is going to be, right? As you transition or change games or anything like that, right? But, you're totally right. If you go if you go to COD, and I would be astounded to see how quickly it goes from, or like what page 50 is versus what page 10 is.
Right.
It's
real quick while we're
it's gotta be hundreds of pages different. I would say.
Imagine.
I would say.
Yeah.
Right. So a game like that, it becomes super vital, right? But at that point, I think you're going to play COD because you already have an established community of people that want to come view you and stuff like that. Anyways, right? Like you're not unless you have a way to bring people to your COD content. I don't see COD to me as a game that I don't see people growing off of it. I see people being sustained off of it. Unless you have a way to get people to come to your content, maybe and it'd be one viewer at a time or something like that. But when you get killed, there's not a huge in your face who killed you, right? Unless you hang around and spectate,
sure.
and unless somebody thinks you're hacking and they spectate you for like another 30 seconds or something, right? Like there's nothing in your face about it. Most people just leave, or you go to the gulag and you don't even know who killed you anyways, right? So a lot of times, and you don't know what the gameplay was, you don't know how it worked out, you don't get to, it's one of those games that I feel like you don't connect while you're playing. You don't connect to anybody while you're playing, so you have to find ways to connect outside of the game. Which is very doable, right? We've all talked about networking, but in this topic here, right? Like COD is not the game to do that.
No.
Apex.
So I'm looking.
Go ahead.
So I'm looking. 50 viewers would be my rows. I'm looking at are 6 channels each.
Okay.
50 viewers would be 23 rows down, and I'm quickly adding numbers as I keep scrolling, and I'm still almost at 10. It's about another 150 rows down before you get to 10 viewers.
So you said it was 20
times 6, so that's like 700 plus people.
So it's like 300 channels. It's like roughly 300 channels to get to 50 viewers.
Correct.
And then you've got another 50 rows, you said?
Another like 150.
Another 150. So then you've got another 750 channels ahead of you when you're at 10.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I will give Twitch some credit. Credit with their new recommended for you filter.
True. It does help a little bit.
I do give them some credit on that, but I still get channels that I'll never watch, right? Like I still get channels on there and I'm like this isn't even close to what I would consider recommended for me. But
I click on somebody one time because like the image that I see in the thumbnail at the time, I'm like, oh, what's that? I click on that, and then all of a sudden I'll get recommendations off of the same type of streamer as that. I'm like, I was there for 1 second. Shouldn't you see that and like not?
I didn't even make it through the advertisement.
He didn't like the content. He didn't stick around. Yeah, that's right. They got the ad revenue off me. That's all they wanted. Oh, but yeah, that's a huge difference in a game like that.
Yeah. So
1,000 down compared to like 100.
So I wanna mention. Because we talked about this. We talked about this in Discord, and we didn't really pre-up on this one, but I'm gonna drop it like it's hot.
That's what the Wednesday's all about.
Yeah. So we talked about this in Discord last week with Nathan.
Ooh.
About
my brain.
About rating.
Oh.
We're gonna jump back to rating, and this goes with our small fish. This goes with our small fish, small pond mentality, right? Small fish, small pond. How do you get bigger? How do you connect with a community? How do you be the small? How do you be the new guy? How do you be the new guy and get in with the people that are well established?
Yeah. Yeah, Q. How? Tell us.
I'm asking the question. I mean.
Yeah, and obviously, my opinions on rating weren't as strong. Nathan had obviously rate out every stream. That's what he says. I'm not going to go into any more of his argument or anything like that because that's more on him to be able to say than me. I'm not going to put words in his mouth.
I'm going to play his side of the fence tonight.
Play his role.
I'm playing his side of the fence, so you can go ahead.
And not that I disagree, because again, what I'll first start off by saying is I don't think there's any downsides you can ever have from rating. There's no like, oh man, that was a bad idea. Unless even if you end up in a channel that like something horrible is happening, at least if anything, you can go report it to Twitch and maybe they'll do something about that streamer. But like, I don't see any downside in rating. It's a great way to get your name out there. I do think there's ways to do it right and ways to do it wrong. Just picking random streamers out of the blue doesn't make any sense. What you should be doing is picking either a game you're playing, a type of streamer that you are. If you're a variety streamer, go to another variety streamer. A just chatting is chatting. Obviously, you can't choose the topic they're talking about on just chatting, so you're kind of, drawing at straws a little bit. Unless you've done your homework, which we went deeply into, where you're looking up a lot of streamers who are regularly live when you're going offline. Because consistency is also big with rating. If you can continue to put your name in someone's channel over and over again, more likely you can get some of their viewers, some of their community say, hey, who's this person that keeps rating? Or the streamer themselves, more shout outs, get to know them better. Maybe they'll shoot you a message next time you're online and playing the same game as you before you log off and get a couple games with them. It's just, it's a precise, not a precise, but there's
Methodical.
a right method. There's a right methodical method to getting raids out there. And he did open my eyes a little bit because I was very much so, like, I had a number in my head as far as my viewership. If I wasn't over that, I always thought it was kind of silly to bring, a party of 4 over to another channel, whatever it may be. But it's still putting your name out there. And that's, again, what I always am saying when we're talking about this, right? It's eyes on the content. If I'm getting my name in front of people, why is that a bad thing? I should be doing it every night. And I need to get better at that.
So here's going to be my thing. I am 100% for small fish, small pond.
Mm-hmm.
Small fish, small pond. I am 100% for rating out every stream. You could have 0 viewers and you could raid yourself. Yeah. You could have 0 viewers, you could raid yourself. And as long as you do a few things when you do that, right? Yeah. My first tip to that is if you want to start doing this, right? If you want to start applying this method, you need to start connecting with the community, just like you said. First thing, make sure you're on a set schedule. Right, that's huge. Make sure you're on a set schedule. True. Period. That's a streamer 101 thing. Make sure you're on a set schedule because you're not going to be able to raid out to people regularly, and people aren't going to know where you're coming from if you don't have a set schedule. Your viewers don't know where you're coming and going if you don't have a set schedule. So make sure that's in place first. Okay. Once you have that set schedule for a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, if you want to take it that long, every time you get done streaming, go to the game you were playing, or if you stick to one game, or if you whatever it is, however you work. If you're a variety streamer, do whatever you're going to do. If you're just chatting, go there and filter for streams that are just starting. I believe they've applied a filter recently that has streams just starting or recently started or something like that. I've seen it before. I don't know if it's something that Twitch puts on there on its own or if you can actually filter by it or whatever, but there's a section in there for streams that have recently started.
You are correct. It is right there.
So go to those streams.
That's smart.
For a week, 2 weeks, a month. Go to those streams after you go offline. Then you take that, you follow them. You start engaging after every stream you have. If they have the same schedule as you and their schedule fits right in that, like if they start 20 minutes before you go offline or 30 minutes or whatever, and then after a week, 2 weeks, whatever your time frame you wanted to set up, then you start rating them. Yeah. You start rating them. You pick 3 people that do that. Like you find 3 content creators, even if they don't all stream the same day, or like, you're like, every Monday I'm going to raid this person. Every Wednesday I'm going to raid this person. Every Friday I'm going to raid this person, right? And you start engaging with those streamers, those content creators, because then you have an opportunity. Like the one thing that Nathan did say that I kind of, and just like you said, it kind of clicked with me too, was to say that the viewers that are just showing up to their stream were watching somebody before.
True.
They were watching somebody earlier, more than likely, right? Some people show up just for that one, and that's fine. But majority of them were watching somebody before. So if you have an opportunity to raid in when they're starting to stream, those people that are just getting there or coming from another stream, they're more likely to step back and say, hey, this guy just raided over when my guy that I'm watching went live. Maybe it'd be a good transition to be a part of that raid. Right. And then you get to be a part of the hype. You get to be a part of the fun. You get to be a part of the community. Right. You get to enjoy the raid. Right. And still get to watch the streamer you want to watch. So those are strategies. Those are the types of strategies that small fish in small ponds need to practice. Right. Always rate up.
Yeah.
Always rate up. Always rate up. I don't
That's
care.
Another one.
I don't care. You know, maybe.
I never thought about that too much.
Maybe 50% or more of your viewership. If you can find it, 50% or more of your viewership. So if you've got 10, go for somebody who's got 20 plus. If you've got, 20, 40 plus, whatever it is, 50% or more of your viewership, try to push yourself because you're helping out that content creator, pushing them up, and you get to be in chat. You get to be a part of the reason that they get to grow too, and it helps everybody. And as long as your community is aware that you're going to raid out regularly, they usually participate. You can make it fun. You can create ASCII, characters and blow up their chat, and you can do all kinds of crazy fun stuff. You can make it an event after every stream. And that really, really, really helps drive the thriving raiding community.
Yeah, no, and people, I've been parts of plenty and seen plenty. The viewers who get into it love it. They look forward to the raids at the end of the night, which another thing for you as a content creator, what that does is it creates a reason for your viewers to stick around to the end of your stream. Some of them, people, he's about to sign off. We know he doesn't raid. We're gone. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it may be before you're done. This is a chance for them to stick around. Then they get to introduce to another streamer. Maybe you're rating another streamer they watch, so they don't even have to click over a channel themselves. They just sit around and end up where they want to be anyways. It just makes a lot of sense. Consistency as well. We talk about consistency with schedule, so it makes perfect sense. Consistency with who you rate. Show that streamer that, hey, look, let's create a connection. I'm going to keep dropping extra viewers for you every night and see what kind of happens from there.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I like
great.
it a lot.
That's
smart.
And again, maybe that streamer will come back to you and hang out if he's not streaming yet. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Maybe that streamer will come back to you. Maybe he'll shout you out in his Discord, not just in chat, but in his Discord where you get a little bit of extra boost, right? Or, outside of his live stream community. There's all kinds of benefits there. And like you said, I don't want to say there's no bad raid because I have had a bad raid experience. I really have.
Yeah.
But, they are far and few between. I think I've had 1 out of 50 raids or something like that. Like I don't even know how many raids I've performed or submitted. So it's definitely worth your time, and it's definitely worth your effort, and it's definitely worth proving your value to the rest of Twitch by doing that, right? By saying, hey, we're all
a big family.
Yeah, we're all here. We're all trying to have fun. We're all trying to enjoy each other's communities. We're all trying to just be ourselves over the internet or our personalities, whatever. You know what I mean? We're all just trying. We're all just trying to provide something fun and do something fun for people over the internet, right? So why don't we do that together? Why don't we help each other out? Why don't we work together? Why don't we have fun and make it an enjoyable thing? Especially, again, in a small environment, in a very, very close-knit community, because your name gets around, especially in a close-knit community.
Yeah, because to bounce off that real fast, the streamer you're rating, they may have, a friend who streams before them, and they could be saying, hey, you should check this guy out, maybe raid to him one day, and you make connections that way. People know people. It's when you're raiding a streamer, they can have a big community, and that could lead to more raid opportunities for you, which we're all helping each other out, getting more viewers in each other's channel, which, quick little PSA to all you lovely streamers out there as well. When you get a raid, acknowledge it, get excited about it, throw some love to those people, because as we're saying, if we're doing it right here, they've done their homework, or we've done our homework to pick and choose who we want to share our community with. So just show some appreciation for it. I've been in some raids where people just kind of shrug it off or don't make a big deal, and that really upsets me as a content creator. So I don't like to see that.
Good point.
All right.
Show the love. If the love is getting shared,
yeah,
reciprocate.
Whoa. Yeah, exactly. Always solid advice. So yeah, I honestly think I never really gave rating as much thought and credit as I should have. And again, that's rookie mistakes, I guess, right?
I'm right there with you. I always told myself, so early on I had one bad raid. And it led me to say that I'm done with this. I'm done with it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
You know, a bunch of my viewers got mad at me for who I sent them to. The community that we went to was just nasty, and it just didn't work. And I thought I knew the streamer. Like I knew who they were. I had played games with them before. I had, and it just didn't click at all. It didn't work at all. It was just not fun. And I hung out in chat for like a half hour after that, and I was like, wow, I'm never doing this again. Like, this is not happening. I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. Yeah. And shame on me for one bad experience ruining that for me. Right? I mean, because I have seen it be so beneficial for so many other people. And a lot of people out there start but a lot of people out there start saying, like, don't raid out, you're just wasting your time. Raids don't benefit anybody, things like that. And I have to continue to disagree with that. As we've just, we went through that whole process as to why or what it's doing for you. But one last thing I would say with that is lurkers can be the bread and butter for a small content creator, right? Lurkers can really boost your numbers. I have seen, and we've kind of made jokes about it in the past, but I have seen people with 50 viewers and maybe 8 active chatters.
Yeah.
And
regularly,
what happens there? And after watching some of those streamers, right? After watching it, what happens there is they get raid after raid after raid after raid, and their numbers go up to 75 or something, and then it drops down, and then their numbers go up, and then it drops down, and what happens is all the active people, and all the active people are tapering off, right? They're going to other channels, they're not hanging out, but those lurkers are gonna hang out, right? They're not going anywhere. They're literally just sitting on a browser. I can't tell you the number of times. I've been at work, and a friend of mine was streaming. And then I just left the browser window open on the side, right? Whatever. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to give him a view. I'm going to help out as best I can. I've got time to do that. I've got resources to do that. And next thing I know, I've paid attention. Like, I go through the thing, and it's like, I've been a part of 6 different raids. I've gone down the pipe, and I'm like, I'm that guy. Yeah. I helped out. I gave all the views to everybody, but, it just kind of... I went through all those channels. You know how many gifted subs I've gotten for stuff like that? It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But, you're helping out. As much as, like, people... I've seen Twitter go off on the lurker fiasco. I've seen Twitter go off on, like, is a lurker really a real viewer? Do you guys like lurkers in your chat? Do you guys care about this? And I'm like, hey, a view's a view, right?
Right? Yeah.
Content is content. I don't promote view botting, right? Like, that's a whole 100%. That's a whole different 100%. Level. That's a whole different story, right? But if you're being a part of a community that wants to help, right? That person that started lurking in the beginning was actively watching somebody who they knew was probably going to raid, right?
Yeah.
They usually know what they're getting into, and they're just providing support all along the way.
Yeah. I'd take 10 regular lurkers over 100 follows. Again, it's boosting the numbers, getting the numbers up to help you get seen more. And a lurker's not a bad person. Some people just don't like to chat. Some people are doing other stuff, so they're not going to sit there and actively type in chat. I know for me, when I watch a lot of streams, I'm usually playing a game on my other monitor, and that's just something to do with my attention span. I can't just sit still and do nothing. It's a real problem. But it doesn't make them any less a viewer to the active chatters. They're both great in their own right, and we need to appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you for example, right? You start streaming before we do the podcast. You start streaming at 8 p.m. Right?
Yep.
Podcast starts at 9. I go into your chat while I'm getting the kids ready for bed, while I'm doing, getting lunches or helping Jamie, do other things like that, right? Like we're doing things out in the house, but I'll get in, I'll lurk for you until the hour comes, and then I gotta, shut you down when I go live. But that's okay, right? Like I'm there as long as I can be.
It's good you're there to tell me when it's time. I'd get too distracted to the games I'm playing, so
I'm like 3 minutes.
It's 9 o'clock already.
3 minutes. It's time to go. What is he doing? What's he doing?
An hour disappears too quickly these days,
Especially when you're playing No Man's Sky.
Woo! God, can't wait. I'm already excited to play after. It's a real problem.
So, last, we'll hit one more topic tonight. You brought this one up that you caught on our Twitch. Do you want me to open it, or you got it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything we left out as far as rating goes.
Oh. Yeah.
Do your homework. Find people to raid. Do it consistently. Stream consistently, because that helps you to raid consistently. I think, yeah.
Raid with reason, right? Like raid with reason. Don't raid to nobody.
Correct.
Raid with purpose. Bring value.
Yeah, hang out for a little bit. Be an active chatter yourself, even if it's for 10 minutes. Some people do it, they throw one message out. Again, do what you can. If your schedule conflicts with other stuff, obviously life always comes first. But if you have the ability to chat it up, show some love, get to know some of their community as well, it's just going to help you out in the long run too. It helps both people, because I think we hear a lot. Some people say, "Oh, it only helps the raider, it only helps the raidee." I don't think that's true. I think if we're all doing it right, we're all helping each other. Like you said, we're one big family on this platform, and we got to help lift each other up.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I think we're good on that topic.
All right.
So, yeah, I was browsing Twitch, Twitch Reddit, because I'm always on there trying to find some good topics.
Good old our Twitch.
Questions people are talking about. There wasn't any crazy things blown up as far as they're trending, but kind of near the bottom of the barrel, it was just a fun little topic that I saw that somebody was talking about. I feel like I'm doing all the right things. I'm on consistently and streaming, and they still say they don't feel like they're a streamer. And I don't know if that's specifically a numbers thing. Sometimes they were saying they have to take some days off for some stuff with their life, which that's fine. There's no problems with that. I'd say going away for like a month and then coming back doing that regularly, that makes it kind of hard. But I'm trying to think, was there a moment for you while you were doing all this where you were like, man, I'm a streamer now? Or like, or does it mean anything to say you're a streamer? I guess it depends on how we all look at it, right?
It's really funny today. Even today, right? I've been doing this for almost a year and a half. I think I've been actively, right? I mean, no, yeah, whatever. I mean, it's not that long. It's not that long. It's just 10 plus years, right? Maybe. Yeah. Maybe, I guess. Yeah. Sure. I've seen 5 regularly, so I'll say 5 years. I've seen people say 5 that they've been streaming for 5 years regularly. Like, I mean, pretty consistently. There's people saying that. Yeah. So I'm still young in terms of my content creation career, right? Like I had a Facebook page, right, outside of that, but I didn't have YouTube content. I had a dead Twitter account that I created that used to be just forward spam stuff from my Facebook profile, right? Like I had no social media presence. I had no community. I had no following. I had no engagement, period, socially. I didn't understand it at all. So going into this, it was really interesting for me. And even today, like when you say like, I'm a streamer, I get looks all the time. Like I tell professionally to people, they're like, "Oh, why do you look tired?" I'm at work and I tell people the day after the workout stream, right? I told my boss, he's like, why you look really tired today, Chris? I'm like, yeah, I spent 3 hours on an elliptical last night. He's like, "Oh, what'd you do that for?" I was like, "My community made me," right? And he's like, and I had to go through this whole process of explaining it to him. And my boss is pretty pretty I don't want to say progressive. He's pretty he's pretty
On the
young,
up and
right?
up?
He's pretty young.
Okay.
He's hip, right? Whatever the word is, right?
Wow.
Like
That's the youngsters are calling him these days. He's hip. He's
yeah.
with it.
Yeah, he's pretty with it. So he knows about the community or what it, what streaming, Twitch, all that kind of stuff is. But like I say it to some people sometimes, or like I go talk to my dad about it, and he's like, and people donate to that, and I'm like, yeah. He's like, why? I'm like,
yeah. Don't ask that question.
I'm like, don't ask them that question. Like, don't like.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, and it's just really funny because I still get a lot of that. Like when I have conversations with friends who don't or aren't they either don't play video games or they're just not engaged in streaming culture. I try to talk about like YouTube content or streaming or being active on Twitter or things like that, and they look at me like they have no idea how to wrap their brains around this. And I'm like, I know you have watched YouTube videos on how to repair a washing machine or, or like how to change a light socket or things like that. Those people don't just do that because they had to do it one time. Like those, I mean, yes, there's that one guy out there that does it, but the channels you get to watch, those are productions. Those are people who do it all the time, and that is their job. Like that is a job. Like you have to understand that, and they just can't wrap their head around it. So like even today, when the question going, I know I kind of sidelined there, but I'm doing all right. I'm doing all the right things. I'm doing all right. I feel like my community is a good community, but do I feel like a streamer? And I mean, honestly, my answer is yes. I have felt like a streamer since the day I hit go live. Like it was the weirdest thing for me. Maybe since my first follow. Maybe since my first follow would be what I would say. Because it was the weirdest thing for me because I hit go live and there's people out there all the time that are like I'm really nervous to hit that go live button and I don't really know and I don't know if I'm doing it right and I'll just you get that sense of insecurity or nervousness or whatever it is. I've never had that. Had that. Not for streaming. I have terrible stage fright. I have absolutely horrendous stage fright. I hate getting up in front of a crowd of people and talking with authority. I really do. Like, I can't stand it, but you put me in front of a camera and I'm ready to go. I have no problems at all telling people what I think, how I think it, what I think would make them do better, even though Amen. I didn't go to school for this, I mean, like, I think I know what I'm doing, right? But like, I'll give you advice.
For sure. Yeah.
But it was
something goes wrong, it's not your fault,
It was one of those things for me that it clicked. Like I was like, if it is possible, like this is a career objective for me. Like I know a lot of people say like, I just want to play video games. I want to be a YouTuber and play video games. And that mentality for kids today, like, yes, you're playing video games and you're making YouTube content, but it's work. It is not. Yes, it's fun, right? I'm not gonna lie, it's fun, but it's work. Like you meet some amazing people, you do some amazing things, but it's work, right? And I think
you're doing it right. You're doing a lot of stuff when you're not in front of the camera to make sure that what you're doing in front of the camera is seen by as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That takes steps, that takes work, that takes hours, lots of them. Which, I mean, what I was going to dive it because I'm with you. Like, I've read a lot of these things where people are nervous about it or they take days off because they're not feeling it. Like, I would set a schedule for 7 days if that just wasn't unreal to live up to, because then I would have to cancel for things with life, weddings, whatever you got to do once in a while. But I feed off it, man. I love it. I sit down, I get hyped. I could be tired and not having a great day, and I sit down and it's just like I am ready to go. When I turn these lights on, I know what's about to happen. And it makes me happy. Which I think if you're doing it for a long time and you're not feeling like a streamer yet, I think that just you gotta look inward. Question if it's something you should be doing. Question Are you enjoying what you're playing? Are you happy with your branding? There's something somewhere that's not working for you that's ruining the experience. And that's not going to be good for the viewer side or your side as the streamer. So, and again, too, maybe it's just not for you at the end of the day, which that's fine. It's not for everybody. But I'm with you, man. I just like to entertain. I've never been shy about it. Let's go. I can do this all night long, every day of the week, and be a happier man for it.
It's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that second piece there about being or not feeling it, feeling it, right? Because it's one thing to be nervous about going live.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, it's another to just not want to do it, right?
Yeah.
If you find yourself in the position where you're doing it, this streaming and content creation is self-employment. It is. It is a self-employed position unless you've got a manager or something like that, right? And you're big time and
someday.
If you've got all that, great. You're still self-employed. You're probably running your own business at that point. But unless you've got somebody behind you pushing you, you are your own boss. So if you don't feel like going to work, chances are you're not going to go to work, right? The number of times I see on Twitter, "Hey guys, I'm not feeling it today. Hey guys, I'm just not. I'm not in the mood. I'm not, and I get it, right? It can happen, right? There's no such thing as a bad mental health day, but you really have to take it like it's a job. The CEO of a company doesn't take days off whenever he might, an established company, I should say. When you get a new job, you don't get 6 weeks off, right? Like you work 5 days a week and you get 2 holidays a year or something like that, right? Like you have to take it seriously. We've always said in the past, treat streaming like a business. That goes for the way you do your content. And if you're not feeling it and you dread hitting that go live button for the sense of like, I just don't want to be doing this, then don't, right? This is not the community. This is not the profession to have a mindset of, I just don't want to do it, right? Because nobody's there behind you making you do it.
Sure.
Nobody's going to push you. I mean, maybe you have relatives, right? I mean, I'm just saying in general, right? You don't have a boss behind you making you reach that deadline.
Yeah, you're not going to lose your job for not streaming for a couple of days where, with work, if you just don't show up, they're going to tell you not to ever come in again.
Right. And that right there is, like you said, reflect inward, decide, why do you hate hitting go live?
Yeah.
Is it the game you play? Is it the category you play in? Is it the type of environment you have in your room? What is it, right? And if it's not a budgetary thing, right? If it's not like, well, my equipment just isn't good enough and I can't afford anymore, right? If it's not a budgetary thing, then get yourself to the point of fixing that, right? And make it work. Or just and I hate saying it like this because I think there are a lot of people out there that can do a really good job as content creators, but I don't want to say just quit. Right? Because I think there are a lot of people that do it because they think it's fun and they get lost along the way and then they get upset, right? Or then they get not sad, but they get, I don't want to use the word. Discouraged. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. They get discouraged about it because they're not seeing what they thought they were going to see, right? It doesn't mean they're not doing it right, but it just didn't happen as fast as they thought they would.
And that's okay.
It's perfectly okay.
Yeah, it's the way it is. Everybody's going to grow differently. We talked about that a lot. Obviously, we can dive into that another time for more stuff. But just for me, it's not necessarily that like being a streamer is officially something that happens along the road. I think for me, I started streaming and became a content creator. I think a content creator is something you kind of become at some point where you broaden your horizons and you're not just on one platform. Not that you can't be a content creator on one platform, but I don't think I really know anybody who's a content creator that's just using one thing, but a streamer, it's a mentality. It's being excited at that go live button and show your face to the world or your gaming or whatever it may be, and sticking with it day in, day out. So yeah.
Anything else to add to that? I mean, that's about all.
No.
I think that's a good coverage there. It's Streamer is it's a profession. It's not a title you brand over your head.
Yeah,
right.
It's not really something you have to earn. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, to me, I guess maybe.
Yes.
I'm gonna go back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back on it and say, I'm gonna go back and say, you know what? You shouldn't be pushing to accept yourself as a streamer. You hit it on the head with content creator.
Yeah.
You should be pushing yourself to be recognized as your brand, right? Like, be an authority on microphones. I'm the mic guy. I'm an authority on microphones. Come check me out for microphones. I don't want to be known as the streamer guy. I want to be known as the microphone guy.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Right.
I was just gonna say,
make your brand be your value.
I'm the streamer. No, I'm the game hopper. That's who I am. So maybe that's the moment once you really become your brand.
That should be what it is. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's what I don't know quite. I don't quite know how to put that into words correctly, but that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And I think that's just a self-realization moment with everything else, you know. If you're not feeling like a streamer, you know, make sure maybe the branding is what's off and look at it. Or stop telling yourself, I want to be a streamer. Say you want to be whoever you are, whatever your brand is. That's the goal. And once you feel fully into it, then boom, you're there. You've done it. Welcome. It's great. It's the best feeling in the world, I think. I just thought that question, it just made me think a little bit about what we're doing and things like that. So I thought it was a fun thing to talk about.
Yeah, I agree. It's an idea that people don't really like. Those are the what are they called? Not the proverbial, but the philosophical questions, you know, where you're thinking outside of yourself and really asking the question of how do you feel about it? Like, what does it really mean? Right. And I love those topics as well. So,
because maybe part of the problem is you feel like you're a streamer, but you feel like other people don't. And maybe that's what you have to fix.
Good point.
Yeah. Getting deep now.
All topics that we can delve into next week. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 56 minutes in tonight, and I appreciate you all hanging out with us so much. Once again, for those of you that are watching this live, we appreciate you so much. We will be transitioning over to Twitch and watching or playing some No Man's Sky in a little bit here.
Amen.
Yes, we will be playing some No Man's Sky here a little bit. That is twitch.tv/TheGameHopper for my co-host Dusty, or twitch.tv/Qualizar for myself, Chris the mic guy. Please be sure to come check us out there. We want to give a huge shout out, both of us, huge shout out to our patrons that are supporting these channels and keeping everything rolling. Huge shout out to our Twitch subscribers and donators and everybody that supports the content that we provide here today or every other day. I think we've almost got, between the two of us, I think we've almost got a whole week covered of content. So you guys should be following us. You guys should be liking our content, and because we can almost cover your entire week between the two of us. So do it. There's no reason not to. So just do it. In the words of LaBeouf. In the words of LaBeouf.
Do it.
Just do it.
Right?
So
and
with
we'll
that,
love you forever for it. You're
yes.
welcome.
Yes, thank you everybody. It's been a great week, great podcast this week. Be sure to check us out on Anchor, which connects to Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, all over the place. You'll have no problems there. Links to all of our content is down in the descriptions of everything we post online, so be sure to check it out somewhere. We will check you guys next week. Have a great one.
See you next time.